Filmmaker Mode saved my TV. Indirectly. As a filmmaker, artist, cinephile, this is important. I have 8 short films under my belt, and I've spent the last 16 years or so making my TV's calibration look its best. If I get anything wrong, the picture will be incorrect, and that whole fraud will settle in. We don't want another mosquito bite situation, do we? Didn't think so. August 8th, 2026. I told my family about my USB cable I needed for my Zoom H4 Essential. While there, they had The Dark Knight Rises playing on TNT on their master bedroom TV. Tom Hardy as Bane invading the Gotham Stock Exchange. Cool. With motion interpolation turned on by default, not as Nolan intended. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, motion interpolation, or the soap opera effect, is when modern high frame rate TVs add frames in order to reduce motion blur or judder. It makes films and dramatic TV look like sporting events, newscasts, or soap operas. Hence the name. Different manufacturers have different names for it. These frames are not in the original footage. Film is recorded at 24 frames per second. Video is typically 30 frames or 60 fields per second. My TV is 60 Hz, which used to be the standard. Modern TVs, like my family's TV, are 120 Hz or higher. Anyway, The Dark Knight Rises is playing with all this crap turned on. This is a cinematic emergency. Chris to the rescue. I sleuthed the panel for any buttons. My family gave me the remote. I hit the menu button, picture settings, I select movie, expecting a full-blown menu to pop up. I press the button again. Aha. It switches to Filmmaker Mode. You mean to tell me you had Filmmaker Mode this whole time? You could have solved this on day 1. My family is not at all tech savvy. I wouldn't even call them cinephiles in the truest sense of the word. They're more of a sports family. This is Bronco Nation. But wait, you may be wondering, what the hell is Filmmaker Mode? It's a TV setting introduced by the UHD Alliance and manufacturers such as LG, Vizio, TCL, Samsung, and Panasonic in 2020, in collaboration with some of Hollywood's top filmmakers, showrunners, and storytellers. It turns off all the unnecessary crap TV manufacturers add to the picture. It corrects the color temperature, frame rate, saturation, contrast, and other elements to preserve movies and dramatic TV as the filmmaker intended, whether it's Citizen Kane or Battlefield Earth. I take a good look at what Filmmaker Mode looks like, beautiful, and noticeably bluer and more neutral than I'm used to. I turn my TV to TNT to compare. It was considerably warmer, redder, greener, definitely some teal going on. In fact, I wonder if I inadvertently applied a teal and orange look to the picture. at some point in time and just got used to it. This led to an existential crisis. Can't talk. I went into my own picture settings. My remote was being an asshole, so I had to somehow reach the side of the panel and pull up the menu from there. Now my TV is a Sanyo TV. It doesn't have any color temperature presets, but it does have RGB white balance that is set manually. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning than getting the color temperature correct. I've been at this for 16 years. I think it looks good. I double check with the calibration disc and the Dark Knight Rises Blu-ray. Everything looks good to the best of my judgment. The monitor's picture settings to match as closely as possible. That's also a cheap Sanyo TV that I use as a monitor. It's 720p and of unknown vintage, while my actual TV is 1080p and from 2010. But I was still getting a slight mismatch and off colors. Too red, too green, too blue, too teal, too magenta. It took a lot of trial and error. Next day, I did more calibrating using reference images, focusing especially on skin tones. Then I double checked with my calibration disc and the Dark Knight Rises Blu-ray again. I guess everything looks fine, but wait, why does Charlie's new video have green grays on my monitor, but it looks normal on my TV? August 16th, 2026. Exactly a week later, August 16th, Madonna's birthday, I came out of the bedroom bathroom and take a look at the TV. It's still clearly in Filmmaker Mode. Great. I review the picture for a few minutes, a few commercials, a TV spot for that new movie, The Dog Star. Everything looks beautiful, but I noticed that the picture is actually cooler and more neutral than my own. Wait a minute. What the hell's going on here? I take note and return to my own TV and monitor for comparison. Out of ideas and out of desperation, I dig through the menus again from the panels and set my white balance back to the default middle. I don't know if you remember 1-800-CALL-ATT, dialed down to center. It's the same principle. My white balance was now more or less perfectly centered, perfectly neutral. I take it to Copilot to see if I'm crazy. Turns out this cooler, natural image, literally the default setting, was correct the whole time. 16 years. And color temperature / white balance was correct the moment I changed the picture mode to manual. All I had to do from day one was turn off the sharpness, edge enhancement, noise reduction, dynamic contrast, and other crap, and I was all set. That 16 years I'll never get back. I test this hypothesis by looking at reference images. Fangoria's Get Wrecked logo in dark mode is a good black level test. Looking at this image, the logo is perfectly visible. My YouTube videos look correct. My short films, my commentaries, my reviews, my Stranger Things videos, Euphoria, Warner Brothers, which is a relief. Then is my final boss. I grab my calibration disc and The Dark Knight Rises again. The calibration disc passed with flying colors. My blue saturation ramp is subtler than red or green, giving it a darker color. So that nearly threw me off. Grayscale has no perceivable color cast. The HD Nation guys look normal, with no blue skin or Miami Vice, no Miami face or green exorcist face. Everyone looks human. As for Dark Knight Rises, the WB home video logo looks as it should. Bright, warm, and colorful. Opening logos have an icy steel look as Nolan intended. Opening IMAX scene looks appropriately colorful. Skin tones look correct here. Sorry, my SD card got full. Okay, skin holds up remarkably well under tungsten, such as the masked ball, and mixed lighting, such as the streets of Gotham. The Batcave has cool/neutral tones, contrasting nicely with Alfred's trip to the Mediterranean. The stock exchange scene was perfectly neutral and perfectly colorful. Excellent skin tones, whites, yellows, and blues. The tunnel chase scene that kick-started this existential crisis for me held up impressively. Natural skin tones under dark, moody, cool, neutral lighting. I hope this inspires you to take a good look at your TV or monitor and give it a good tune-up or leave it alone because it was already correct. Do you have any HDTV calibration horror stories? I'm all ears. And speaking of ears, how do you like my Zoom H4 Essential?